What is going on YouTube, and welcome to this content video, my very first one of 2019, and I'm excited to be dropping on you guys in this video today. By the way, thanks so much for stopping by to click on this video. I want to share with you the importance of having a junk food budget, hashtag junk food, because there's no such thing as good or bad food, but having a hashtag junk food budget, which is going to be your key to success when it comes to owning the area of nutrition in 2019, because as you're probably aware, when it comes to mastering the art of body recomposition or just controlling your body composition in any way, shape or form across the rest of the year, like to be able to control how much fat you have surrounding your actual muscle tissue is simple, but can be quite hard to adhere to, and people unnecessarily make things super duper hard through the dumb stuff that I see them doing. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is I'm going to give you some insight into how you can actually be, I guess, owning this per se, in a way that's going to be able to help you to understand how to be able to maximize your calories and macronutrients and stuff like that. And obviously maximize it in a way that allows you to never feel deprived, that you're missing out, and can therefore adhere with ease. So I'm just going to fire up my iPad so that I can demonstrate to you guys visually a good way to go about this, and kind of determining how you can spread your actual calorie budget to nail things effectively based on goals and what sort of person you are. So boys and girls, the first scenario we're going to be looking at is the 80-20 scenario, which I find works really well for most people in terms of general population. So by this I mean, let's say that you go to the gym 3 to 5 times a week. You're not, obese. You've just got some weight to lose, maybe in between 10 to 20 kilos, and you eat fairly hashtag healthy, so lots of nutrient dense foods in general, and you understand how calories and macronutrients work, right? So let's say that you fall into this category. 80-20 I find will serve you very well. So in a Venn diagram situation, I think this is called a Venn diagram, I forget the technical term for it, but yeah, in a Venn diagram situation, 80-20 might look something like this for you, right? So in this scenario, what this big chunk looks like, right? This big chunk would refer to your, whoops, I did the wrong one. There we go. Is this, oh no, we want this one here. There we go. So in this sort of scenario, what this would look like for you if you fall into this scenario is that this massive red section, this refers to basically the 80%. So this 80% would be typical hashtag clean foods, right? So think anything that is whole or basically unprocessed, right? Let's zoom in here. There we go. Unprocessed. Think fruits, veggies, that sort of stuff. Obviously, like meat or non-meat sources that will allow you to get in enough protein, mono and unsaturated fats. Like that's what your 80% is going to be devoted to. And then this 20% scenario here, what this part is going to be devoted to is basically your YOLO stuff, right? So let's say, for example, that in this scenario, so the 20%, let's say that your intake might be like 1800, right? So if that's the case with 1800, that means that 10% of that is 180. So that means you've got 360 calories, right? To be able to dedicate to basically whatever, right? Literally whatever. So 360 calories, you could get basically a medium chips from Macca's for that much. You could basically get in, I'm pretty sure you could fit in a McFlurry. You could, it's quite significant. You could fit in a lot of stuff, right? You could easily pretty much get in any 6-inch from Subway to an extent. You could have 6-ish Oreos. You could have 3 medium peanut butter cups. If you were having some low-fat ice cream, that could get you a solid 150-ish grams of ice cream. That could be in between 2 to 3 rows of chocolate, potentially 4 depending on what type of chocolate you have, right? Like literally the purpose here in terms of 80-20 is that this 80% scenario, right, we devote this to nutrient dense stuff. It's going to allow you to get in enough protein, fiber, enough micronutrients and vitamins and minerals. And the whole concept is the scenario would be that every single day you know that you've got 20% of your calories saved and utilized to be able to have for just whatever you want that allows you to hit your overall 1800, right? Or if you were, say, for example, on 2000, that would mean that your 20% would be 400 calories in this sort of scenario that you would use for whatever you want, right? So 80-20 would be an awesome concept for the bulk of us, really. This is something that I also follow as well, the 80-20 scenario. But what we're going to look at here is we're going to look at another couple of scenarios also, all right? So first off, in this sort of scenario, let's look at the 90-10 scenario in terms of who that would be good for, right? So in this sort of case, what we're going to do is we're going to change the colors up. We're going to go in this sort of scenario first. Oh, there we go. So 90-10 is the example here. So I find that the 90-10 scenario is good for, so let's say 90% here, right? 10% is in here. Let's draw this as blue. Yeah, in blue, opposite, nice colors. There we go. So for this 90-10 scenario, right, I find this to be a great example for basically people who are fresh to the flexible dieting journey, right? So you're a newbie, or you're so like a newbie sort of being like, you're so used to things like hashtag clean eating, and like similar. So in other words, you come from a background of food restriction. If this is the case, well, this will serve you well, because basically what you're then doing is, let's say that your intake is 1600, right? So 160, that's 320 calories would be dedicated to YOLO foods there. And then that means that 1280 would be dedicated to nutrient-rich foods, right? So in other words, what you're kind of doing there is it's weaning you into kind of like the mindset that it's okay to have foods that fit into this category, right? Stuff that's processed, stuff that has sugar, stuff that is chocolate and typical hashtag guilty can't eat foods, right? So that way, what it then does is it's kind of you're easing yourself into weaning off of restriction and kind of embracing moderation in a, like rather than just jumping straight into, typically going out of your way to have as much YOLO foods as possible, right? This is what a lot of people have misconceptions around flexible dieting, right? The whole idea here is that for you to have any chance at getting in enough protein, getting in enough fiber, right? And getting in, sufficient fats or carbs depending on your weight, right? The only way that you're going to nail this game is by having an effective ratio that serves you well. So in other words, if you're someone that's super duper used to restrictive eating, or you come from a beast background and you have a shit relationship with fruits and vegetables or whatever, well then a 90-10 scenario would be really good for you, because it's just going to allow you to be able to develop an effective relationship with getting in enough fruits and vegetables, and not sort of feel overwhelmed with having to dedicate a lot of calories to hashtag junk food, but rather 10%, and then progressing to that 80-20 scenario like I said earlier, right? So it's kind of like, if you're used to extreme fat loss scenarios or yo-yo dieting and whatever, 90-10 would be awesome for you. And then that way you've got that small amount of calories dedicated to the YOLO stuff, as I call it, right? In other words, it's not bad, it's just stuff that's calorie dense, and you're not going to really get much volume of food from it anyway. Now, last but not least, what we're going to look at is the 70-30 scenario in terms of who this is relevant for, all right? So another pie chart scenario, right? Let's say it looks like this. Whoops. Right, 70-30, awesome. We're going to go blue for the big chunk, right? Now, this 70%, right? We're going to put this as there we go, and then awesome. So that's colored in enough, right? You get the picture. So 30% here and 70% here, right? So I find that this scenario is really good for people who are basically hard gainers, right? I'll explain what this means in just a tick. Or people who struggle to eat enough calories, right? So what this could look like, right, is let's say, for example, that you're someone who is used to maybe 1200 calories or less in the past, and then, you enter into the world of flexible dieting, you're like, holy shit, it's hard for me to eat 2000. Or maybe you're trying to bulk and you're someone who is used to just like, oh, but I eat so much, I'm not gaining weight. And now all of a sudden you find out you need to eat 3000 calories, right? The only way that you're going to be able to be meeting these calories effectively while still covering your baseline micronutrition targets and that sort of thing, right, is by, kind of increasing your budget that you're allowing to the YOLO foods, right? So let's say, for example, that you're a hard gainer, so you're someone who's trying to bulk. Let's say that your intake is 3,000 calories, right? And you start to track on MyFitnessPal and stuff, and you're like, holy shit, this is actually hard to eat this much food. So if you're in a 30% scenario where you're dedicating 30% of your calories to this YOLO stuff, what that would look like is, yeah, a casual, let's see, so 10% is 300, so that would be 900 calories that you're devoting here, and then 2,100 to the hashtag clean stuff, right? Which would allow you obviously a lot of leeway here for awesome tasting stuff, getting in some pasta, pasta sauces, maybe some more ice cream, whatever. Like, it really doesn't matter, because your goal there is to get used to eating enough calories. This 2,100 would be more than enough to be able to allow you to get in enough protein, enough micronutrients and that sort of thing, while also getting in enough healthy fats, and yeah, obviously you're going to get in lots of carbs anyway, right? Now, let's say, for example, you are the sort of person who is struggling to eat calories and you come from that restrictive eating background, right? Well, let's say that your intake is 2,000 in this scenario, right? So that means that what that would look like is you'd have, well, 10% is going to be 200. So that means you've got 600 that you're going to be dedicating there. And then the remaining 1,400 would be used for the 70%, right? So in that scenario, if that's you, what I encourage my sort of clients to do if you're struggling to eat calories is, you know, start to use things like more nut butters. So seek to be able to, like, that would really help you with this part and to get enough fats and stuff. But even if you're already getting in enough protein and macros, you could start eating some peanut butter or dark chocolate or things like that to help you with the remaining 600. And even making things like smoothies and things like that, this is going to help you massively to be able to get in enough calories and to be able to ensure that you don't feel deprived or restricted or anything like that. And it's going to help you massively from a psychological point of view to ensure that you are adhering to enough calories. Because understand that when it comes to this game, right, at the end of the day, it's all an energy seesaw in terms of balance, right? So we've got the whole calories in versus calories out scenario, meaning that the whole idea is that if your goal is weight loss, right, you want to have more, so calories in, calories out, right? Meaning if you're someone who, like, it doesn't really matter whether you're vegan, clean eating, like whatever your fundamental principles or beliefs are around food, you cannot outweigh or human this energy seesaw, right? So we'll call this the energy balance seesaw, right? So our whole concept before, when we were talking about these different scenarios of, 80-20, 90-10, 70-30, whatever, right? They can only be effective when you've nailed it in terms of this, right? So calories in versus calories out. So if we have more calories coming in, right? So let's say that this is the heavier part. So we've got more calories in than we have our calories out. Well, then what's going to happen is you're going to gain weight. There's no two ways about it, right? Whereas if we have less calories coming in than we do more calories going out, right? Well, this is what's essential to be able to ensure that you are losing body fat, and getting that balance right is what's going to ensure that you are maintaining muscle while getting lean and enjoying this whole process of, well, yeah, moderation when it comes to food, not restriction. All right. So I really hope that you've enjoyed, just this video in terms of learning different ways to approach how to spread your calories. Right. If you have any questions around what sort of person you are, in terms of whether you should embrace the 70-30, the 80-20, the 10-90, right? Just drop a comment in the comments below, and I'll be more than happy to help you out. And if you're keen to be able to, have me be able to work this sort of shit out for you personally, whether it's in a coaching scenario or it's in a nutrition coaching scenario, once again, comment below or get in touch via my social links below. And make sure you give this video a like. If you're a new, YouTuber checking out this video, it'd be awesome to have you engaging in some other videos and content. Obviously, I post all sorts of different stuff when it comes to this game. I love teaching and educating people because I believe that knowledge is power. So if you understand how to, now fat loss effectively, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to have an amazing lifestyle while losing fat pretty much on autopilot. And hey, make sure you press subscribe, and if you are a returning subscriber, give the video a like. Let us know what you found valuable from this video, and peace out. See you next time in the YouTube world.